Hello everyone, sorry it's taking me a while to make this video on how to attack lab. I had some issues with some of the recording software and I finally got those worked out. So as you can see, I am in our course Blackboard site. And I've got to tell you, if you haven't done Start Here yet, which you really should have by now, you want to do it as soon as possible. I have a bunch of stuff in there to help you, and to just emphasize that point, I'm going to pop in there for a quick second. Because even though there's a lot of writing in here, if you read through it, there are things to help you. And I do apologize that my screen is cut off a little bit. When I do the full screen view, the words are so tiny that you can't read anything. And I wanted you to at least be able to see the buttons I was clicking within Blackboard for things. But if I scan through here, yeah, there's a lot of blah, blah, blah about what Dr. Allen's background is. But if you look through here, there is a line about how the discussion boards and the Edpuzzle online homeworks are assignments that I expect you can get all of the points for. That's why I left them untimed, so you can take as much time as you want to do them. And the thought being that you should be actually looking up those answers, right? Just a thought. There are other areas here that have good tips for how to be successful in this course, like the typical week expectations and the how to succeed. They both have tips to help you be successful in anatomy online with me. All right, well, we are far beyond Start Here, so I'm going to click on course content. I know you can't see my mouse, but you can see when words highlight. And since week 4 is where I've started to see some issues with the amount of labeling, why don't we go there? So my thought is, let's pretend it's week 4. So my thought is, the first thing I would do if I were a student is I would go to the course schedule, go down to week 4, and I would just check out here in week 4 what the lab topics are going to be that I'm supposed to get done. Okay, and I can see we got bone structure and whatnot, general bone stuff, and then I also am supposed to be starting the skull. So I'm going to go back over to Blackboard. And I'm probably going to go back to the materials for the week. I'm curious about lab right now. I'm going to pretend I already read through the lecture stuff. When I go into the lab module, I can see, there's some tips for how to attack the various days. But I can also see where I need to be finding the stuff that I need to be successful for this lab. Once again, that doesn't mean you have to complete the whole handout and the whole PowerPoint. That would be far too much. But you're going to focus on the skull, right? Since we're pretending we're focusing on that part right now. So I'm going to go back up to materials for the week, and I'm going to download those 2 files. And the first thing I'm going to do, as recommended, is go to the unit term handout. And I am going to scan through here until I find stuff related to the skull. All right, now I'm seeing a heading for skull anatomy, so I've gotten to the right place. Going to scan down here. There's stuff about sutures, so I could keep an eye out for that. But there's also a lot of information related to the bones as well, right? It says cranial bones, 8 total, and projections. The initial bullet point Below that has the name of the bone. And then for some of them, I have some special features or projections that you need to know. So after looking through this whole thing, or at least enough to get started like we are right now, I'm going to go back to PowerPoint. I'm going to select View and Slide Sorter to help me get through these slides faster. And hey, I'm starting to see skull pictures already. Excuse me. So I'm going to click on the one that's colored because that's usually the one that helps to separate different days. And notice it says that these first pictures are to help you identify terms from the lab term handout. What that means is that, I'm not expecting that you necessarily memorize every single word on every single picture. That means you're scanning through here for pictures that are going to help you with identifying things from that lab term handout. So as I'm scanning through here, I may see some things that I don't need to know. Especially, a lot of these things listed under the frontal bone are things that are not on that lab term handout. So maybe to help myself out, it would be a good idea to select those things and just delete them. So I don't have to even worry about them. And that way what's left is, what I need to focus on. Or alternatively, maybe for future reviews, maybe I will want those. Maybe I'm going to specialize in bone stuff, or that's my plan right now. So instead, I'm going to select words that I know I'm seeing in that lab term handout, right, and so on and so forth. I'm not going to do them all. And I'm going to change the color of those so I know to focus on the things that are a different color. Either way, find your system to help yourself narrow things down. Then, after you're starting to feel comfortable with where you should be finding various things, like where I might find the frontal bone, I'm going to go to the unlabeled bones. And this seemed to be an area that was confusing people. So there are some labeled slides that have some unlabeled pictures on them. Hopefully you guys saw what I was talking about, but I'm going to circle them just to be on the safe side. So like these guys right here, those are what I would call disarticulated bones. So those are skull bones that have been pulled apart. And I will not be using those kinds of pictures for your midterm exam, so you probably don't want to spend a ton of time with them. The reason why they are included is because they are part of figures where some of the features of the bones are labeled that I thought were helpful. So that's why they're there. But we are on a hunt for a good picture where we can see the skull unlabeled. And notice at the start of this area that's got unlabeled pictures, there's another slide with language from me, directions from me, that tell you that this is the area with the unlabeled images that you want to practice with, essentially. And sorry, once again, sorry that's cut off on this recording. So if I go to a picture that's got a skull, I can clearly see frontal bone here. So I can start adding my labels, right, to this image. That's the thought. I wanted to keep it fairly simple and straightforward. I know there's a lot to learn, but if you use the Unit Lab Terms handout, you're really going to help yourself narrow down what you need to focus on for that midterm exam. After seeing what you all have been labeling, I can see why it's been so frustrating and overwhelming. You're trying to learn it all. And that handout is really supposed to help you figure out what's most important. I'm not going to test you on all of it. So once again, hopefully this helps. Let me know what you think. If this is something that's beneficial, I may try to do another video about something that we find problematic in the future. Thank you for your time and keep working hard. Bye.